when you pull your connectors out, there's a little tang that you're swashing down with your flat blade when you're putting it into the... Carefully, don't push them in too far. The little tang will disappear back into the connector. If it does, then use the corner of a Stanley blade carefully, and then you can put just the edge of the blade in and hook it back out. That's what I had to do on these. Careful with those little tangs on your spade connectors. So just get something pointed and sharp and hook it back out. I used the end of a blade very carefully, picked it in and flipped it back out. Just a little tip for you there. Right, that's that cleaned up, and a new bit of wiring tape on there to make it look clean. So a nice clean connection there to the fuse box, wrapped and just down into the harness. So that gives us power to the fan fuse. So by switching this, we've got the fan on the floor in the harness there, switching on. Speed 1 and we're off. Speed 2 and we're off. We're away. That's our fan working. Running good. So fan, you got hazards, you got side lights, cigarette socket, wipers next. Right, we're going for the wipers. Let's get the wiper mode. Okay, high beam relay. Oh, we just needed an earth onto one of the earth rings there, that's all that was. The relay's fine. So we're high beam relay on, so that's another job done. We're getting there. Okay, cleaned up the fuse box. I used a little mini shot blaster in the end. Some of the stuff was a bit stubborn. Little handheld mini blaster. It really brings off the stuff and gets it clean. I've just put some protective grease on there now. Hopefully that'll stop it from tarnishing again. Okay, well, that's fuse box. The fuse box is done. So I'm just going to clean up the starter motor, windscreen wiper motor. Wants a good clean up, as you can see. Swampy's original with the old style fittings there, your 2 spade terminals on that earthing clip. So we're going to keep that. Going to give that a clean up now. See how she looks, and then strip it down. So I'll get all the rubbish off first, and then we'll strip it and have a look, see where we're up to with it. Get that casing refurbed and painted. It's like we've got an alloy casing at the top, so I'll lightly blast this now, shot blaster, give it a clean. Okay, got some degreaser in there. In this case it's Spinners. I'm hoping that'll just blitz away the grease. Should just dissolve it. So motor in, keeping the gearbox in, keeping the motor clear. Then we go for a wash. Just gonna slosh it in and out, and then pick out the rest of the grease. Air blow it out because there'll be some sand in there from the shot blast operation. So we'll thoroughly get the air gun on it. Then once I've packed that up, I'll seal that back up, then I'll take the motor casing off and we'll have a look at that. Okay, got some power to it, just work the last of the grease out. So we're just putting the brush in there. I've got most of that out now. Speeding up actually. So obviously the resistance has dropped a bit, that grease has gone. Right, another wash it through, and then a wipe down, then an air blast, and then a repack with grease. Then we'll check the wiper contacts are okay. Here's the wiper contacts, and they look okay, but we'll put some cleaner on those too. So that's the starter motor beginning to get refurbed there for you. Right, got the airline ready. Blast the rest of that muck out of there. Right, that's clean and degreased. We're ready to repack that now. Close that lid off, and then we'll pull these clips off and just check inside the casing, then get the casing painted, and then we'll regalv these clips, because I think they were originally in a galv finish. Looks like they're in gold originally. I might as well get it looking right while we've got the chance. So let's clean that rotor off there, repack, and we're ready to go on the top casing. Right, there's your multi-purpose grease. I've packed it into the worm drive, so I'm just going to put some juice on and let that work in. Okay, I'm going to stop it, work a bit more. So it just loads it as you, if you do that, you're just loading it. Just let it load up. Right, those 3 clips just ping off, they're dead easy. Just screwdriver under there, just lever them up and they pop off. So there's our casing. Let's see what she's going to reveal. You'll see the brushes and the armature. And let's see what we get. Carefully now, I don't want them brushes to come off and it all go in a mess everywhere. I've got the magnets, I'm just wobbling the casing. She's out. There's your 3 armature, 3 brushes. It's a 3-speed motor, so you've got 2 regular sets and another winding for the speed control. And then there's that sand which I knew would have got in there, so we'll be air blasting this out now. A bit of contact cleaner on the armature there. Brushes are good, plenty of life left on those brushes there, you can see, so good to put back together. Nothing to do to that. I'll look at the end bearing by pulling out this shaft now and get the rest of the sand out of there that I've got in it from the shot blasting. Get the airline on, all cleaned up, and then back together. Nothing to do to that. Brushes are good. Bit of a clean up, she's back together. Right, I'm just nickel plating those clips for the top case. I've got the casing for the wiper motor Q rusted and sanded down. Get some etch primer on that. We're not going to galvanise that. It wasn't a galv finish, but the securing clips were a nickel plate. So we're on with the nickel plating of those now. Should take a few minutes to do that. Should be cooking up nicely. Yep, they're coming out bright nickel. Looking good. They look nice and shiny, those clips. The real deal. Well, this is it. You join us on the 31st of December 2013, the last video of the year. Wasn't sure if I was going to be out here on New Year's Eve, but I am for a few hours to film the last video of 2013. It's going to see me fixing up the wiper motor, finishing that job, and the wiper motor link arms, which on Swampy's are in a bad way and are going to be replaced with a spare unit, which is over here. It's going to donate the link arms, but I'm going to be using new old stock pivots with the old style clip-on wipers, because the newer ones had bolt-on wiper arms, but early Mark III Cortinas used a clip-on system. I'll show you that later on. So that's where we are with that. Just a little bit on the harness I'm going to carry on with as well. So not quite sure the order of things today. We'll just film as we go to make you a 15-minute clip to see out the new year. Hopefully you'll be watching it in the comfort of your armchair, either to bring in on New Year's Day, or maybe you're staying in tonight and you wanted a 15-minute break from the normal television. Maybe there's an action movie on tonight. Maybe you've got some beer by your table there and you've got your feet up, perhaps having a nice meal, who knows. But whatever you're up to, whatever you're doing, if you're out partying, have a good night. If you're in, taking it easy, again, have a good night. Enjoy this clip. If you want to have a bit of fun, a bit of a Cortina fix to welcome in that new year, that 2014, then join me as I take you through what we've done on the dashboard, a summary of the dash, and we'll power it all up and have some flashing lights. It's New Year's Eve. Let's get some lights flashing. Let's flash around and play. Okay, so let's get filming. Let's see what we can do. I'll drag this dashboard out into the middle of the floor and lay everything out. See what I'm going to do. Might connect up some rear light. I might connect up the indicators and play toys. See you in a sec. Okay, I'm just going to take you through what I've got to do to fix Swampy's wiper linkage. Here it is. Bringing it onto the board here for you now to look at. Hold on, the wiring harness. It's caught on it. There we go. Right, let's just fold that up a bit more compact. Okay, so Swampy's, you're looking at the original fitting. Now, this bracket is rusted out and thinned, and it's a bit flimsy and weak around this knuckle. Also, it's seized, but I have unseized it. But I don't like the look of that ball joint. Okay, the arms are rusted. They could be galved. Worst case scenario, it's not necessarily scrap, but it's not brilliant. Okay, so I don't want to use it. Now I have got, hold on while we bring this into view, still connected to the wiper motor. I'll have to unbolt that in a sec. This is a facelift one, or even a later one, not even necessarily facelift. This is sort of pre-facelift, or pre-facelift Mark 1 before the actual facelift. There's two different types of wiper used, and this one has got better galv bars for a start off, but look, your arms are different. If you look at that one, that's got a kick-off piece with that, whereas this, let me flip this around, look at Swampy's original, the whole ball joint is all in one knuckle, whereas this, you've got one ball joint offset and then it pivots on that one, so a slightly different design. And also the way that the wipers attach is different. Early wipers slot on with this type fitting. Here's a new old stock wiper, a clip there and you clip on. You don't have that nut and bolt at the front. Quite an important in your face feature, so it's got to be kept original. It's going to be, you know, it's just too obvious not to. So I can't use these bars, and I can't use this new old stock early pivot because it's designed to go on that knackered bar there. So how do you get that to fit onto the new style? The only way I can think of doing it is slice this off with an angle grinder cutting disc, then slice this and then weld that onto there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to weld on these new old stock ones, are going to be cut and welded onto a facelifted linkage assembly because that linkage bar is good, and I haven't got a tidy pre-facelift bar to use, and that one I think is just too rusty. So I want to use these good bars and then weld on pre-facelift pivots. So that's the plan. So I'll do it at that end and also at this end. Now you could possibly unclip that because on this end it looks like it's the same length bar and possibly the same ball joint size. So I could separate that ball joint out and clip this one in so I wouldn't have to weld it. I don't know how easy they are to pop apart. I've got the vice set up now. I'm going to see on Swampy's scrap one how easy they pop apart. Never done one before, you see. I've seen them fall off on vehicles when they've worn loose, but I've never tried to prise one open. I don't want to damage it by prising it open, so let me try on this bar that I can afford to damage and see what happens. If it's alright, I'll pop that out and clip in Swampy's pre-facelift pivot, and then on this end I'll do that weld, cut and weld, because obviously you can't clip that in. Okay, that's what I'm on with. Let's set up on this vice now and see what I can do with that. Angle grinder out, welder's ready there to do the welding job. Metal working tools are wheeled back in, so I'm going to crack on with this.